the CEO Hour with Dean Akers. The mission? To help CEOs and startups succeed in today's marketplace. Entrepreneur or established CEOs, is your business growing? Where's your business going? Let's talk about it with your host, Dean Akers.
Well, welcome to the CEO Hour. I'm your host, Dean Akers, bringing you top CEOs or entrepreneurs that share their journey every week. And this includes the ideas that helped in their success and things they've learned not to do again. I got to tell you, we're starting in the 7 a.m. segment this week on the radio. I'm really excited about that. And some of my listeners reached out to me, and we've been in the 10 o'clock segment. And the reason I love the 7 o'clock segment, now, if you have a podcast, you can get us up on the podcast. We're on all the networks there. But I know all my early birds are out there running and working out. And now you can listen to the show while you work and working out and while you're running. So we're really excited to have the new time slot at 7 a.m. Today, I'd like to welcome a really unique entrepreneur. And I would say that in the context that I know, having spent some time with him, you have to be an entrepreneur or intrapreneur to grow in this industry that he's in. And it's General Dave Beydler. And Dave, welcome.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Dean.
Well, Dave, I'm honored, and thank you for your service, obviously.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And the listeners out there, they love to hear people's journeys.
Yeah.
And they always think that you and I just fell out of the womb a general. I know it's not that easy, or me as an entrepreneur. So I usually started off with 7/17. 1959, something happened. What happened?
I was born in Harrisonburg, Virginia.
In Virginia?
In Virginia, Shenandoah Valley.
Tell me about growing up.
Well, I grew up in a small town, Harrisonburg, Virginia, in the middle of the Shenandoah Valley. The history of that area is greatly influenced by both the Revolutionary and the Civil War. I went to Turner Ashby High School, named after a Confederate cavalryman. Cavalry general officer. We played against Stonewall Jackson High School and Robert E. Lee High School, so a lot of history in that area. But I spent my early years in Harrisonburg in a rural setting. My father worked for a telephone company. My mother went to Madison College before it became James Madison University there. And from there, we moved with my dad's work up to Northern Virginia. I finished high school in Manassas, Virginia, and went to the Naval Academy. And that's kind of what led me down the path of being a Marine Corps officer and later serving 37 years in the Marine Corps.
Well, I got to interrupt you because I didn't introduce you that way because I wanted to not introduce you that way.
Okay.
I mean, you and I met a couple weeks ago, and I think it's really cool in the fact that you're a retired general.
I am.
And that's a big deal.
There's not many of us,
right.
Certainly in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps is about right at 190,000, 180,000 Marines. And we have about 65 or 70 general officers in the Marine Corps. It's a very small number. Small for the Marine Corps and small percentage-wise relative to the other services. I retired as a 3-star after 37 years. I think there were about 12 of us total. The Marine Corps has 2 4-stars. The Commandant of the Marine Corps, the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps. So it's a small group, and we have a very, very flat pyramid in the Marine Corps. Only 1 in 10 Marines is an officer, and the average age in the Marine Corps is about 23 years old, as I recall. So It's a very junior force with a very flat pyramid and not too much bureaucracy on top of the force itself.
So you graduate from high school.
Graduated from high school,
and you go to the Naval Academy. Was that a choice that you made, or was it?
No, it was a choice that I made. My dad had been in the Navy for a couple of years after World War II as the services were drawing down. So there was no military background in my family for the most part. When I finished high school in 1977, my dad was working for a telephone company, and he was hiring college graduates to wash trucks in the truck park because there weren't a whole lot of opportunities with a flailing economy at that time. And he kind of mentioned to me that, going into the service, maybe going to a service academy, and having something on the back end of that, an education with a direction would be something I should carefully think about. And
well, I gotta stop you. That's not an easy trek just to get in one of the academies, is it?
No. I was a good student and I worked hard, and I looked at it as an opportunity to do a couple things I wanted to do. One, a challenge, a technical degree, something that would follow that would be, again, challenging and unique. I don't think the idea, a complete understanding of service comes to mind as a 16 or 17-year-old. I showed up at the Naval Academy as a 17-year-old. But it sounded like it would be a real challenge, an academic institution, and I liked the idea of putting myself through school. My parents were equipped to send me to a college, a university, but I liked the idea of doing it myself. A part of it that I suppose served me well in the Marine Corps was being a bit hard-headed and determined, and so I did all that was required academically and physically, moral, mental, and physical, as they say at the Naval Academy, to apply and get accepted and make it through tough, 4 years of really hard work.
Well, that's a big deal. Going through one of the academies. I had one of my son's, best friend who I used to take flying with me and got the passion of flying, and he went to the Air Force Academy because of his passion for flying that he learned early on. But for you to go there now, so you go into the Naval Academy. Mm-hmm. Did you go in and say, I'm going to go in and be in the Marines or Navy, or just go because you're going to get your education paid for? You're going to give the country. Tell me how that framework started happening as a 17-year-old.
I don't think that you fully understand a commitment to nation, a commitment to service at that age. You kind of grow into it. You see that there's an opportunity there, and in school, and education and service academies are about opportunities first and foremost. I didn't know anything about the Marine Corps when I went to the Naval Academy, though the Naval Academy, Naval with an L, supports both services within the Department of the Navy, the Marine Corps and the Navy itself. So I was exposed to Marine officers. I was impressed by Marine officers. I was impressed with the discipline, the physical fitness, the bearing, the edge, if you will, of Marine officers, and I would like to have been one. And so it was always, what's the next challenge? So after I graduated, I thought the next challenge would be, can I hack it as a Marine? And then.
So did you have experience at the Naval Academy that kind of, because it serves both? If I was at the Naval Academy today, because this is news to me,
yeah.
There's actually people in the Naval Academy today that are on a trajectory to go in the Marines?
Absolutely. Now, it's completely different today. And the reason I say that is when I was there, that was during the peak of the Cold War.
Right.
And the Naval Academy had one really driving demand, and that was to produce 300 people a year that could go into the Navy nuclear power program and run our nuclear submarines and surface ships. So it was a very focused on academics, focused on hardcore engineering to produce 300 out of 1,000 graduates who could make that requirement. Things have changed. When I graduated, we probably took about 130 Marine commissions out of a class of 1,000. Today, it's almost 270.
Wow.
So I think that the Naval Academy, which I'm a big fan of, my son and son-in-law both attended the Naval Academy more recently than I, obviously. I like what they're doing. I think that the program is on a really, really good path right now. but it's a far more holistic approach to producing a naval officer on the back end than it was when I was there. I think the graduates are far more physically fit. I think that they're more prepared for a range of service options, not just technical service, but service that involves hard, demanding leadership and physical fitness, as in the infantry and the Marine Corps. So I think that things have changed for the better, and they're producing a much higher quality product than when I graduated.
Well, I probably would beg to differ, only because you're being very humble at this moment. As we get ready to go into the break and continue our visit with General Beydler and Dave, as I call you, we're going to learn more about that journey. And I wouldn't underestimate what you were doing back then to today. I got a feeling, and when we come back from the break, I'll share some stuff. So, again, I'm Dean Akers, the host of the CEO Hour, bringing you top CEOs, or in this case, top generals, to join us each week, and we'll be right back with more visiting with Dave Beydler.
The CEO Hour with your host, Dean Akers. Connect with Dean at deanakers.com. We'll be right back.
So, you're a tech startup. You're working hard, trying to make it happen with big ideas, big dreams, and a small budget. You need to connect with people in the same boat. Now is the time to join the early stage startup group, the Innovation Center, an incubator for early stage tech firms. You can find them at tbinnovates.com. Now operating for over 14 years, the Innovation Center is a regional, national, and internationally known success story, continuing to generate momentum in Pinellas County. Twice, the Innovation Center has won the Tampa Bay Technology Forum's Excellence in Service Award and has been recognized by Entrepreneur.com as a top 10 international business incubator. And now, Tech Garage, a technology and entrepreneurship center, has joined forces with the Innovation Center to provide a co-working program in downtown St. Petersburg. Connect with the startup community. Connect with the Innovation Center. Go to tbinnovates.com. That's tbinnovates.com. And tell them the Adjunct CEO sent you.
If you're a CEO or organizational leader looking to expand your business, join the CEO Council, where you'll meet and exchange ideas with fellow CEOs without the pressures of a sales network environment. You can join today by sending an email to application@adjunctceo.com. The CEO Council is comprised of over 220 fantastic local business leaders you'll be able to learn from because they walk in your shoes every day. When you become a member of the CEO Council, you'll have an opportunity to build trusted relationships during the roundtable meetings, share your triumphs, vet ideas, and work through business challenges with peers who can provide real-world business solutions. The CEO Council offers opportunities to hear from world-renowned speakers that inspire ideas to help members grow as both leaders and individuals. Join the CEO Council. Request your CEO Council membership application today at adjunctceo.com or by sending email to application@adjunctceo.com. That's application@adjunctceo.com.
Helping your business succeed in today's marketplace. Welcome back to the CEO Hour with Dean Akers.
Well, welcome back to the CEO Hour. I'm your host, Dean Akers, again bringing you top CEOs and entrepreneurs each week that share their journey. And again, this includes their thoughts and ideas that helped in their success and things they've kind of learned they may not do again. We're really honored today to have General Dave Beydler with us. He's a 3-star Marine that's sharing his journey today. And at the break, we were talking about the transitions and what it's like to be a Marine today and how it's different. And it's really interesting. But I got to tell you, to have weathered what you did and the commitment you made even back then is epic. So to share with you, now you're in the Marine Academy, you're probably taking some classes, and as you shared before we went in the break, that was technical. They were trying to get them to learn how to drive submarines or whatever, run submarines and everything. What took you down the track to become a Marine?
No, that's a good question. Let me just follow up here. You know, the Academy is about producing naval officers that are morally, mentally, and physically fit to lead sailors and Marines. And that comes with a basic bachelor's degree, a liberal education. Most of what the academies focus on is obviously technical, because that is the bulk of what we do, run technology and the people that manage that technology. So I elected to be an engineer, and as a part of that kind of determined, stubborn, hard-headed approach, I had pretty good grades the first year there, and when we selected our majors, one of the toughest majors there, rumored to be the toughest, was Naval Architecture, which is mechanical engineering involving ships and ship design.
So they actually have a full-on engineering degree?
Oh, absolutely. You get a bachelor's degree from the Naval Academy. It's a 4-year program.
Well, I know it's a 4-year program, but you could, if you went to an engineering company and did your thing, sit for your PE.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I would say probably 30 to 40% of the graduates get a PE.
Wow.
As soon as they graduate. So I wanted to be a naval architect, and I think that the counselors looked at my grades, which were good, and they weren't sure that I was up to it. Boy, that's all I needed to hear. So you don't think I can make it? Sign me up. And I'll tell you, I've never worked so hard in my life. It was a very demanding program, but it was the beginning of hard work and doing all that was required to adapt and improvise and overcome and graduate. I think we graduated 19 in that major out of 1,000 graduates. So
wow.
It was a small group, but that was a real challenge. And life is about challenges and overcoming challenges. The next challenge upon graduation was to go to Quantico, Virginia, and compete and be a Marine officer. A 6-month program, demanding. The next challenge was to go to flight school and get good grades and get what you want. I wanted to fly jets, and I worked very, very hard in flight school to get the kind of grades that would allow me to get my choice, which was jets.
Well, how do you graduate from high school? Did you have aspirations in aviation?
No.
Because it sounded like you wanted to be an architect.
No, I could not have told you when I graduated from high school that I wanted to be a Marine, that I wanted to study naval architecture, that I wanted to fly, let alone fly jets in the Marine Corps. These were all things that came over time with exposure. Most of those things were shown to me, and they were all challenges. What's the next challenge? What's the next thing I can do to challenge myself and advance, be competitive, to compete? And
so I gotta stop you there. Did you have any, up until getting ready to go to flight school and stuff, did you have, for our listeners out there, was it all just clean sailing, or did you have some challenges? Did you have some sleepless nights? Were there things had to really hunker down on?
I worked very, very hard to get through the Naval Architecture program at the Naval Academy. I had good grades. I didn't have great grades. Nothing came easy. I worked harder than my peers to do as well and to hang with that group. The same was in flight school. There are some that are natural or more naturally inclined to that. I worked very hard. I did well in flight school, but it was through hard work. I guess that's one of the thematics here is hard work will get you a long way in this country of ours, and it'll get you a very long way in the Marine Corps or the services in general. Hard work is the standard. And so everything I've done has come through, everything I've achieved, I suppose, has come through application, hard work.
Well, can I ask you something? Because the entrepreneurs we have on here use the term hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to have a construction company, and to me, hard work was 20 feet deep in a sanitary sewer line as a laborer.
Right.
Weren't most of the people you were in school with working hard or not?
They were. There are some that are just naturally more talented. They may be more academically inclined.
Right.
They may be blessed with greater physical strength and capabilities. There's some remarkable people out there that are both highly intelligent and highly fit and have all of the likable attributes of great human beings. Those of us who don't have all those things naturally have got to work on those things, whatever they happen to be.
So describe.
So hard work is not necessarily physical labor
Right.
or long hours. It's application. It's taking what you're given and making the most of it.
Do you have any examples of challenges when you're at this stage that you go, man, I got to really, I do something that for me when I was young, I set a timer to work 10 minutes a day on stuff I hated to do.
I walked to the library every evening as soon as I ate, and I didn't come back to where I slept until midnight, and I did that for 4 years.
So that's a good takeaway. You you put in that extra time, and it wasn't just goof off time.
It's regimented, disciplined, focus on a specific objective. I'm going to be in the library during the weeks and the evenings, and Sunday night I'm going to be back there. So a part of it is just a commitment to see this thing through. It's kind of this idea of stick-with-itness. One of the things that the Marine Corps looks for is someone who has graduated from high school. Not that there aren't sharp people out there that have GEDs, and they're out there, no doubt about it. But just the mere fact that an individual is stuck with high school to get a diploma says something about their ability to stick with recruit training and make it through and be titled Marine. So sticking with something that is challenging over time is the mark of a person who's going to be successful.
Well, you for our listeners, we're going to be on the air at 7 a.m.s now, and that's a commitment. And we have listeners that religiously listen to the show, and they comment. And I think you hit on something about it's that extra, that time at the library where somebody else might be doing whatever they're doing.
Right.
That probably made a difference, didn't it?
And it's effective time. I mean, there are people that like to think that going to the library is good enough. It's going to the library and getting something done while you're there.
Yeah.
That's a different piece. So you've got to be effective in what you do. The first part is commitment, and then the effectiveness of that commitment is also weighs heavily.
So in that 4 years at the Naval Academy, when did you wake up, or what triggered you to sit there and say, instead of being an architect, a naval architect, or the different path I was going down, what happened that says, boy, I'm going a whole new path. I'm going to go into the Marines?
I would have not gone into the Navy to be a naval architect. That's not a career path necessarily. This is a broad education
Right.
that gives you the ability to think and reason and problem solve to go forward. That's what bachelor's degrees do.
Right.
So it was not moving away from my major into something else. I was going to be a Navy officer or a Marine officer. Going back to what I said earlier, I saw Marine officers, and I liked what I saw, and I wanted to be one of them. They are disciplined and fit and look good and have the bearing that America loves. There's a unique relationship between America and its Marine Corps. It's different than the other services. When you go into an American embassy around the globe, the first person you see at Post 1 is a United States Marine. The folks that are around our president, standing outside the helicopter, are United States Marines. So there is a unique relationship between the American people and the Marine Corps, and I think most Marines appreciate that unique relationship and want to live up to the Marines that have gone before us that have put that relationship into place.
Well, Dave, I totally would agree with you, and I share with you my stepson is a Marine now, and it's made a big difference with him. When we come back into segment 3 and we get to join each other and talk more, this transition into the Marines where you finally decide to make that big decision to go and what you did is so important. And again, I'm Dean Akers, your host of the CEO Hour, bringing you top CEOs and entrepreneurs every week. And when we come back, we're going to learn more about General Dave. I'm going to call you General Dave. That's probably disrespectful, and somebody's going to call me out on it. But we'll be back with General Dave to learn more about his journey.
Helping established CEOs and entrepreneurs. Connect with Dean at deanakers.com. The CEO Hour continues in a moment. Helping to navigate today's marketplace for startups and mainstays. Welcome back to the CEO Hour with Dean Akers.
Well, welcome back to the CEO Hour. Again, I'm your host, Dean Akers, and what a joy it is for me every week to bring you top CEOs and entrepreneurs that share their journey. And this week is especially cool because I'm bringing you General Dave Beydler, a 3-star general retired from the Marine, and he's sharing his epic journey. When we went into the break, he has now graduating from the Naval Academy, has made this conscious decision to join the Marines. And I want to hear, now you go to Marine boot camp.
It's Marine Corps officer training. It's called the Basic School at Quantico, Virginia.
And that's a cakewalk, right?
It's a challenge. I mean, you're a commissioned officer at that point, so they treat you like an officer. It's not officer candidate school, but they take you and equip you with all you need to have as a Marine Corps officer. It's a six-month school, and whether you're a lawyer or a pilot or an infantry officer, every single Marine officer goes to that school.
Well, I got to be blessed a number of years ago. I got involved and got to go spend time at Quantico with the FBI and did a bunch of stuff up there. Got to spend a week up there doing crazy stuff and got to meet some of your compatriots up there that were training there. What a real deal. So now you're at Quantico. How'd that go?
It was great. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It was nice to be out of a pure academic environment and doing things in the field. The thing about the Marine Corps is the Marine Corps doesn't much care where you came from, what your background is, who your family was. They don't care that you went to a service academy or you went to Harvard. It's all about performance. And the Marine Corps will find your weakness and will work it over and make you stronger as a result. So it's a service that treats everyone the same. So it was a great 6 months. I enjoyed it. Learned a lot, and it is what sets the Marine Corps apart in that every officer attends this program for a full 6 months. It's a huge investment, but it's a touchstone. We call it very simply the Basic School.
So when now you've graduated from the Marines, from the Naval Academy, you're in Quantico. Where did you get this sudden desire, or was it a sudden desire to be an aviator?
Well, I think it came about, in that last period of time at the Naval Academy. I had more or less decided that I wanted to go into aviation. I went to the basic school, and from there, upon graduation at the basic school, I went to Pensacola, Florida for naval aviation training.
I got one of the most coolest things. I got to go do a KC-135 mission, which, of course, you know what that is. And I got to go do a half a day, and all we did was refuel you guys from Pensacola. Right. How epic is that? So now you're in Pensacola. You've gone down there, and were you nervous?
Every flight that you fly in training is a graded event. You're under the gun every single time you get in the airplane. And you don't have to be perfect, but they expect that you will make progress and learn and not make the same mistake again and again and again. They'll expect that you be very well prepared, not to waste their time, waste the government's money on flights that don't advance you in the syllabus. So it's a lot of hard work, preparation for the flight, even in out of flight school. As I flew F-4s and F-18s in the Marine Corps, the flight preparation for a flight can take several hours. The flight brief is an hour and a half to 2 hours. The flight lasts an hour and 30 minutes, and then you debrief it for an hour and a half on the back end. it's almost a full work day preparing for briefing, flying, and debriefing a single flight event. So that's similar to what it was in flight school. A lot of self study, a lot of getting in the simulator at odd hours when the simulator was available to practice this, that, and the other thing. So again, making full use of the resources that are afforded you, and going the extra effort makes a difference. And they will find your weakness. And the one thing they won't let you do is make it through a program and be a risk to yourself or others as an aviator in the Navy or Marine Corps. There's a fair amount of attrition based on lack of effort, poor performance, safety, or just the inability to advance in the program.
Was that a real moment for you when you got whatever the wings, or what do they call that when you graduate?
Well, it's a big event because you're not allowed to obviously to wear wings until you've earned them, and for jet pilots in the Navy and Marine Corps, the culminating event is to land a jet on an aircraft carrier, and you do it by yourself the first time you do it. So you're a fledgling aviator, you've not been winged, and you're expected to fly an airplane out to a carrier and safely put it down on the deck. And it's hard, but in addition to it just being a demanding profile, demanding flight experience, there's a lot of trepidation when you fly out over the water and find a little bitty ship, and there are a lot of thoughts that race through your mind that you've got to figure out a way to put this airplane on the back of that thing safely.
That is epic, and I got to tell you why.
That's a make or break.
Well,
that's a make or break.
For you to sit across from me today, and this is a very special day for me, by the way. I can remember how I felt the first time I soloed a 172. I was nervous as anything. I can't imagine flying a jet, trying to land
out to a boat
and land on it and not kill myself and others.
Right.
So when you landed that first time, did you do a hoorah or whatever? What do Marines do?
Hoorah.
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 Yeah. Did you just was that an epic feeling?
You've got to do it a series of about 10 times. So once you've done it once, the catapult, go back off the carrier and enter the pattern, and doing it again is waiting for you. So there's no time to pat yourself on the back. I think you pat yourself on the back once you've gotten a thumbs up from the landing signal officers, and they send you back to the shore. And once you land on the beach, as we say, after you've carrier qualified, then you can pat yourself on the back and go have a beer with your buddies. But until then, it's all work.
Now, again, you're older now. You're established, obviously, retiring general. Back when that was all going on, what was going through your mind?
How fun it was. I mean, there's nothing more exhilarating than flying a jet like the F-18. I made a carrier cruise on the USS America a few years later. There's nothing more exhilarating than flying an airplane like the F-18 on and off a carrier. There was nothing more satisfying than flying off the USS America in combat operations. American might used to defend this nation. A 48,000-pound aircraft that is launched off the front, 0 to 140 knots in about 2 seconds, and then coming back at night in bad weather and trying to get back aboard the ship safely to do it again the next day. So,
well, before
fantastic.
We go into segment 4, something else happened in your life. We got a couple minutes. You must have met this beautiful woman in your life. How did that happen, and what happened?
I was in flight school, and I met my wife, Kim. She was going to college in Virginia. She's the daughter of a Navy captain, so she understood the naval service, understood what that was about. We were married in 1984, shortly after I was winged and started flying in the Marine Corps. And we've had a wonderful life together. 35 years of marriage, 35 years in the Marine Corps, traveling around the world. We've lived in Japan and Italy and in Germany. Had a number of assignments, moved 21 times in 37 years. But I think she understood what she was getting into based on having grown up with a father who was a career Navy officer. And she's very, very proud of her service and sacrifice, enabling my service and sacrifice. Service doesn't come without sacrifice, and I would say that the families of service members sacrifice more because they don't have sometimes as much say as they should.
Yeah, I look forward to meeting Miss Kim someday because she's got to be a total rock star. And when we come back into segment 4, I want to hear about, I know you have 2 children and they're not children anymore, and we'll be coming back into segment 4 to finish up the day. But wow, I just want to tell you how jazzed I am you came on. Again, thank you for your service. Thank you for your finding out how your journey was going to be. Flying F-18s. I'm glad you said it was fun. I was waiting to have one of these stoic answers like, well, I was flying it because, I had to fly it and all that. And I'm just glad you told me it was fun because I got to believe it was fun. And so we'll be coming back into our final segment, segment 4, in a few minutes, bringing you General Dave Beydler back, sharing the rest of his journey. Again, I'm Dean Akers, your host of the CEO Hour, bringing you top CEOs and entrepreneurs each week. This week, we're bringing you a real CEO. And when you talk about somebody that's gone through the military and achieved the ranks that General Beydler has, they've run a big business, huge business, with a lot of responsibility for people's lives and the results that happen. So when we come back, we're going to be joining General Dave Beydler for more of this journey.
Success never takes the weekend off. Connect with Dean at deanakers.com. The CEO Hour continues in a moment.
Growth begins by understanding where you are now. For a limited time, business growth experts at Adjunct CEO will provide a full CEO physical of your business valued at $10,000 for free. Email ceophysical@adjunctceo.com. This offer includes financial, marketing, and sales analysis and an outline to help you strategize future success. For your free CEO physical, email ceophysical@adjunctceo.com. ceophysical@adjunctceo.com. Florida ranks high as a new hub for business growth and innovation. Startups, restarts, and starting over are all part of the new vitality generated as geography and economic opportunity collide. As Florida's entrepreneurial ecosystem grows, many are using Synapse to grow their business. Synapse is a groundbreaking methodology that connects all personas within the innovation economy, utilizing a method that enables all users to progress in meeting their given needs while promoting much-needed community engagement. Never more than now has Florida presented opportunity to be better aligned in business, providing huge potential for greater overall results with strong collaboration and holistic leadership. Synapse is a growth synthesis platform that will allow you to take advantage and flourish in ways you never thought possible as an entrepreneur, as a business, and within the context of community, events, connections, publishing, all with Synapse. See for yourself at synapsefl.com. That's synapsefl.com.
Helping your business succeed in today's marketplace. Welcome back to the CEO Hour with Dean Akers.
Welcome back to the CEO Hour. Again, I'm your host, Dean Akers, bringing you top CEOs or entrepreneurs that share their journey each week, which includes thoughts and ideas that's helped their success. This week, our special guest is General Dave Beydler. And Dave's been sharing all his really cool stuff. In fact, during the break, we're talking about jet flying, and I can't even tell you how that gets my attention. At the break also, we were talking about how blessed he was to be married to his bride, Miss Kim, for so many years and all the 20 plus moves she's made. And we were talking also that in these moves, they brought along some luggage that they acquired along the way. And they had 2 pieces of luggage. And I do that candidly because I have 5 sons. And so tell me about having children in the military.
We have 2 children, and they traveled a lot and moved a lot over the year. They were experienced or exposed to a lot and had a lot of wonderful experiences. But it's hard on children to move, and my daughter moved 4 times, attended 3 separate high schools, and that wasn't easy, and I understand the challenges with that. My son went to 2 high schools, but they through all of that, we're 2 for 2. We have 2 children, and they're both Marines, both Marine officers.
Oh, my goodness.
And,
You've got to be so proud.
I am, and I think that they're very satisfied with their decision. I think they both felt like service was something that they wanted to be a part of. I would tell you that they're in great places in their lives right now. They really like what they're doing. They really like and feel privileged based on why they're doing it, the purpose behind their service, and they really like the people they're doing it with. So I think it is possible to serve and sacrifice and do right by your family, and that certainly worked out for us.
So as you've progressed, from a Naval Academy graduate to a 3-star general, share with our listeners the things in that journey that they would want to learn about leadership and really stick to us and stuff that will help.
Well, there are a couple of things, and I am often asked, certainly by young Marines, so how did you get where you are? And that's a very simple question, and I've hit upon it several times here, and it's just hard work. I think that young people that are aggressive and asserting themselves appreciate hard work. It's more or less a core competency for those who are successful in life. And I tell people that everything I've achieved has come through hard work, and as I mentioned earlier, hard work will get you a long way in this nation of ours, and it will certainly get you a long way in all of the services, the Marine Corps included. I think the other piece is to put others first, and I think that true service, comes with some sacrifice. And if you're not willing to vote against yourself, you are probably not leading those that deserve that selfless service, that servant leadership. So you've got to put others before yourself. You've got to be able to vote against yourself. Take one for the team, if you will. We have a saying in the Marine Corps that officers eat last. And we'll never allow an enlisted Marine to not eat before an officer eats in the Marine Corps, and we mean that. That's at the general officer level. And to be honest with you, it created some problems for me, being a senior Marine in the Middle East. We're in the Middle East. They couldn't believe that a Marine 3-star would not eat before his Marines. In the Middle East, the general officers over there don't care much about their enlisted members, but I made it a point that I would eat last, and it kind of woke them up, I suppose, at times.
Well, that's epic. You said something early that I really want to hit on, because I'm a big proponent, and you just validated it. Is you've witnessed what we call the young people that everybody says, oh, they're lazy and everything. I've found a lot of them very passionate. They understand hard work. You get to see it every day, right?
I do.
And you get to lead, and that's got to be kind of invigorating for you, to have that experience of having led. What would you say the average age in your groups are? It's
in the early 20s. We were a very junior force. Most enlisted Marines come in at the age of 18, 19, 20 years old. So we're a very junior force, and I'm impressed by them. The folks that commit themselves to service at a very young age are impressive young people. They have got ambition. They're not afraid of hard work. They're not afraid of the sacrifice that comes with being a Marine. We don't promise a rose garden. We have high standards. And for the most part, Marines are not superheroes. I tell groups that I look around a room, I don't see any Marvel superheroes out here. I see average Americans that want to hold themselves to a higher standard and see if they can compete. So we take average Marines. We instill a sense of pride. We ensure that they're physically fit. We ground them in honor, courage, and commitment, and we help them prove themselves to themselves and their families. And what we get out of that is a Marine that cannot be beaten.
What a foundation that creates. And I think today, to your point earlier, when you joined, there was more of a stigma. Today, do you find that people are more engaged in wanting to join?
They are. I still remember countless Marines that saw 9/11 on TV and went to their recruiter that afternoon or the next day. And that's not an exaggeration. I know Marines here in the Tampa area that signed up when they saw that. Some of them saw it in person, live, from New Jersey, and marched right down to their recruiting station and said, "I want to be a part of the fight." So we still have that. Young people today, many of them weren't born when 9/11 happened, but 9/11 has shaped us as a nation over the past 20 years. But I think it's still there. You can always count on young Americans to rise to an occasion, and when the nation needs Marines to fight, they'll come forward. So
with our entrepreneurs out there that may or may not have had done service and stuff, and a lot of them have, is there any points that you've learned that you think would translate really well for them as we close out, become as a senior leader of a major organization?
No, I think there are a few things here. Standards are part of it. I think that you're going to find that people that leave the service and move into the business world are going to have standards and have applied themselves, are used to hard work. I talk to leaders about what do you want to be remembered for? 10 years from now, as a leader in the Marine Corps, as a commander in the Marine Corps, as a CEO, what do you want those that work for you to remember you for? And a part of that is having a vision, communicating that vision, and leading people into a collegial teamwork approach to achieve a tough challenge, a resolution of a tough challenge. So if you can set a standard by which you want to be remembered, that's good. I also say that Marines that know where they're going and how to get there are pretty easy to lead. Know where they're going is the vision as expressed by their leaders, and how to get there is the training that you've given them. If you've trained them well and you tell them where to go, leading Marines is easy. And I think that holds true in the business world. And then I have a saying about a superior unit. A superior unit is one that works hard, but not so hard that it crushes itself, that it can make difficult things easy, and produces a quality product as recognized by those outside the unit. It's not what you think of what you do, it's what your customers think or those that you lead think. So that's how I would define a superior unit as leaders in the Marine Corps would focus.
Dave, I really appreciate today. I mean, I love doing the show because I get to spend time with people like you, and the thought process of the superior unit translates totally. What do you want to be remembered for? I mean, I think that really resonates. Our listeners out there as entrepreneurs and stuff, I think when you can get out of bed and look in the mirror, and I have a sneaking hunch when you get out of bed and you look in the mirror, you feel a lot of pride in the kids, and I say kids, young men and women that you've helped grow and help understand what a superior unit is, understand what they want to be remembered for. That's got to be epic for you.
It is. It's very satisfying to look at people that you've had an impact on being successful in their own lives.
Well, again, thank you, General Dave Beydler, for joining us today. This has been an epic episode for me. It goes up as a podcast after it airs each week, and so it'll live into infamy. And I know our listeners out there will get a lot from this. You gave us some great tips. I mean, I'm taking home superior unit and what to be remembered for. I really, really appreciate everything you've done for our country. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your leadership to these young men that are now growing up and are their future leaders. I know that's got to give you a great deal of pride. We've got about 20 seconds. Any quick closeouts that you'd like to leave us?
No, I appreciate the time with you today. It's always nice to talk to people about leadership and the successes that I might have had along the way. So, Dean, thank you very much, and Semper Fidelis.
Oh, wow. Thank you. And again, I'm Dean Akers, your host of the CEO Hour. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks for listening to this CEO Hour with Dean Akers, helping businesses and CEOs succeed in today's marketplace. Receive a free CEO physical when you connect with Dean at deanakers.com. That's deanakers.com. And join us again next week for the CEO Hour with Dean Akers.